Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today I've set up a wider shot because I want you to notice that I'm sitting on the SIHOO DORO C300, a chair with a premium futuristic look, very similar to Herman Miller chairs, ergonomic and designed for all kinds of users. For all those people who spend 8 to 10 hours a day sitting in a chair, whether it's for remote work, leisure, or whatever the reason. And above all, we want to take care of our back health, ergonomics, posture, and most importantly, reduce fatigue. In this video, I'm going to tell you what adjustments the chair has, what materials it's made of, and most importantly, we'll focus on my opinion of this chair after trying it out for several days. So guys, let's go straight to the design because I think that's one of the things SIHOO has focused on the most when building this chair. This chair, as I mentioned before, has a premium look, a futuristic design, and pays a lot of attention to ergonomics. In this chair, we can find details that you would usually see in chairs that are much more expensive. If I asked you the price of this chair, you'd likely guess it's higher than it actually is. This is a chair that has a lot of adjustments, it's made for everyone, and as I mentioned before, it even pays a lot of attention to the build quality. While I was assembling it, I noticed that this chair has duplicate screws, and all the legs come attached with 2 screws each. The seat also comes reinforced with 4 screws. Overall, I think everything is done with very good taste. It's designed, with the intention of being a long-lasting chair, to last a long time, and above all, so that it's not a chair that breaks easily or makes creaking noises. Instead, it's a completely silent, comfortable, ergonomic chair that will last us through long work days. And moving on to ergonomics, I have to say that it's a chair that's perfectly equipped with adjustments, both lumbar height and for the neck. Also, when it comes to reclining, it's a chair that self-adjusts. What do I mean by this? I mean that it's not a chair where you sit down, lean back, and the rest of the chair stays still. Instead, with this chair, what you'll find is that when I lean back, the armrests also move with me, to a lesser extent, but so to speak, the whole chair moves in sync. In such a way that in any position we take, we have a very comfortable, relaxed posture that allows us to spend a lot of time, many hours sitting without, for example, any back strain. Then, the adjustments we have in this case, well, would be the backrest and lumbar support height, which are linked together. We have 4 positions, okay? When we reach the last one, it goes all the way down. Here we could go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and when I get to the 5th, it goes back down. In my case, I have it set to the 3rd position. I think that's the one that suits me best, and I'm pretty comfortable there. Then, let's take a look at the armrests. The armrests can swivel horizontally, and we also have the possibility to extend them forward or backward by a few centimeters. Approximately maybe about 5 to 8 centimeters more or less. That's how much we can move them. The armrests are not flat. They are armrests that, although very subtle, have a slight shape that fits the elbow and forearm. Well, basically we rest our elbows, and honestly, it puts us in a super comfortable position where we could, for example, attend a conference or a video call for hours comfortably. As for the seat and the backrest, we find them made of nylon, which means that since it's very taut when we sit down, we notice that after all, the seat is soft. However, we don't have any kind of foam that could degrade over time or become, so to speak, compacted. No, in this case, well, that's it. They're simply, so to speak, some threads. I suppose it's nylon. That, well, when we sit down, after all, with that tension, they give a little, and we're sitting, so to speak, like sitting on a cloud. Because we have that feeling of, so to speak, floating, and that there's really nothing holding us tightly or anything like that, the same goes for the backrest. We have a backrest where the more pressure we apply, the more it sinks in, but it's always soft. It doesn't have a limit. It's not a foam. It's not foam that gets compressed and stays compacted. And the same goes, so to speak, for the neck, a neck rest that also has adjustment in all directions. We can adjust it both forward in several positions, and when we reach the last one, you'll see that the backrest moves backward. There, in this case, I bring it towards me, position by position, until I find the one that fits my neck, which would be about there. Then, we also have adjustment for the neck tilt itself, which has 3 positions, and of course, we can also adjust the height like this, okay? So we can raise and lower the headrest there. I have a little cheat sheet here on the screen, and basically we can adjust the headrest height by 4.5 centimeters, while in depth, forward and backward, we can adjust it by 6.5 centimeters. Then, the tilt angle I mentioned to you is about 20 degrees. Well, in my case, that's where I feel comfortable, right in the middle position. You have 3 positions, so you can choose the one you prefer and the one that suits you best. And that's where you stay. I forgot to mention it, but the armrests are also height adjustable, meaning we have several positions where we can set them, and when we reach the top, we simply unlock them and lower them all the way down again. So these would be the adjustments after all that the chair has. They're really simple, they're basic, but they're more than enough to make us feel comfortable when we sit for long periods. Of course, we also have adjustment for the height of the seat itself, meaning you can go higher or lower, just like we have the option to lock or unlock the ability to lean back, okay? If I, for example, start leaning back and suddenly lock the chair, then when I lean forward, the chair will stay in that reclined position and hold it well. However, if I unlock it again now, lean back a little, I return to the original position. If we can move the headrest in 3 dimensions, as I was saying, the armrest improves that situation even more. Why? As you will see, if I raise it to this height, now when I start to lean back, the armrest comes with me. This is what the brand calls a 6D armrest, which moves in 6 dimensions. We can move it in any direction ourselves, but also when we recline, it comes with us to a certain extent to maintain that posture. Then, there's a detail that I really like because, for example, the chair I usually use and that you've seen me use in many previous videos, which was, let's say, a gaming style chair, was made of leather, and what problem did it have? Well, when it's hot, it's a super hot chair. What was the good part? Well, it had cooling and all that, but in the end, it's a hassle. This chair, being made of nylon fibers, hardly makes us feel hot at all. It's a chair that breathes a lot. It doesn't retain sweat. In fact, it doesn't just not retain it, it actually prevents it. It prevents us from sweating because in the end, your whole back, your glutes, when you sit down, and your legs, they all stay ventilated, which really reduces sweating, especially in the summer. On the other hand, well, this nylon I mentioned before might give us the feeling that the chair is a bit harder. But I'm telling you, in the end, we make up for it with that foam feeling that when you press it, it gets compressed and it's not soft at all anymore. In this case, at all times, if we move, we'll see that there's some movement, some give in these nylon strips that I'll be showing you in a closer shot so you can understand what I mean. And by the way, you might be worried that the armrest won't fit under the table, because it's happened to me with some chairs where when you sit at the table, the armrests are just the right height to hit the tabletop. No, in this case, there's plenty of clearance underneath, and even if I wanted to raise the chair a bit right now, you'll see that the armrests still fit under the table without any problem. So just so you know, you won't have any issues with your tables, and you'll be able to adjust it to your liking. And now I'm gonna share my opinion based on the days I've been testing this chair. It's a chair that's perfectly made for programmers, video editors, photographers, basically IT professionals, people who spend a lot of time sitting, staying still, not moving for many hours in front of the computer, but always in the same position. In the end, these are positions that, in my experience, make us hunch over because, after all, chairs don't support good posture well. They don't make us feel completely comfortable, and in my case, I always end up leaning forward and hunching my back a lot. In this case, it's a chair that encourages us, when we're sitting, to be completely comfortable with our lower back supported. This means that, in the end, we relieve a lot more pressure. All that weight is supported by, well, these adjustments that these chairs have. In the end, the lumbar area, the neck area, and also the back, and, well, the arms too, but that's more common. Now, what do I think about this chair? Well, this chair is a great option if you need a desk chair, but who wouldn't I recommend it to? First of all, I think one of the drawbacks it has is that it's a chair made for people who are a bit short. For example, I'm about 1 meter 80, 1 meter 82, and I'm already pretty much at the maximum height point for the backrest. So, people who are maybe 1 meter 90 or 2 meters tall, well, this chair is a little small for them. So, for example, I'm pretty slim, you know, and I already feel like, so to speak, I'm taking up the full width of the seat area. So people who are maybe a little wider, or who, in the end, just take up a little more space, they might not have a problem, but maybe they won't feel completely comfortable. It's not an especially wide chair, for example. The one I had before, I could fit my legs in it twice. In this one, no. In this one, my legs are practically at the edge of the chair. So, well, just keep those references in mind. Now, this chair is really made for people who spend a lot of time in front of the computer. But maybe, well, it's not exactly a chair that's, so to speak, useful for people who are going to share the chair a lot. Because, after all, I also feel that it requires us to spend 5 or 10 minutes adjusting it, trying out this setting, the neck, up, down, tilt. And after all, if it's a chair that's being rotated, where one person sits now, then another, and so on, it's going to be a chair that's maybe not completely comfortable and requires, well, a short period to try it out and adjust it to feel completely comfortable. That being said, how much do you think this SIHOO DORO C300 costs? I'll tell you more, but it's a chair that's currently on sale for less than 300 euros. A price that competes, for example, with the Marcus, the typical chair from IKEA, or some chairs we've already seen here on the channel, which were even a bit more expensive. However, we don't reach those prices of 1,000 or 1,500 euros that chairs in really high-end categories can cost, where in the end, you're mostly paying for the brand. In this case, we're gonna have a bit of that balance between price and maintaining that ergonomics that will help us during long computer sessions. Now, having said that, guys, I also want to know what you think about this SIHOO C300, and above all, if you have any questions, I want you to leave them for me down in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.